go again.
Oh, man. Stevie had to go to the bathroom, but I'm just going to keep it rolling, man. So, this week, we watched Pokemon the first movie. Most nostalgic shit ever. Yeah. I mean, this movie was like the perfect movie as a kid. Like, I remember going to this movie and getting like the Mew Pokemon card handed out to us. I was just watching a video on that Mew Pokemon card. That shit's like super rare now too. I don't even know what happened to it. I wonder if Stevie got the Pokemon card. He probably did. Yeah. But yeah, it's Mewtwo Strikes Back. This is the start of Pokemon. This was probably like what really like solidified the fan base, I feel like, as kids. Stevie.
Yeah.
Did you get the Mew Pokemon card in theaters?
Yeah.
I'm still running the pod. It's not paused. I just kept going. I was trying to talk, and it was kind of hard. Kind of hard doing movie club alone.
I did get the Mew Pokemon card.
You got it?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing this movie very vividly.
Yeah. I think I saw this movie a few times. I think I had like 2 cards, maybe.
I don't know if I got 2 cards. I definitely saw it a few times, especially like, we've talked about it before, like the, like dollar movie theater.
Oh, yeah. I think no, it's funny because like my mall's theater used to not be a dollar theater. And I think when I saw Pokemon, it was still like a regular theater. Like to where it was like the premiere of it.
Yeah.
Because I remember being at the mall theater for that. And that was like my first time really remembering that mall theater. Like,
Interesting.
and it was for that Pokemon card. I remember waiting in line for that damn Pokemon card.
It's lit that they gave it away like that at the event.
Dude, I've been watching all these videos about like different events.
Pokemon events?
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
for the
and just
video
like
game?
and yeah, just different things that it's like, God, like there were like our childhood era had like some really cool shit. You know what I mean? Like the start of technology, I think, is very interesting because a lot of that shit's gonna live forever, right? You think about like our parents, right? It's like, you know, those little Raggedy Ann dolls, whatever, you know what I mean? Like Red Ryder, like what, you know, like guns, you know what I mean? Or like the little red, like those things
Stretch
are,
Armstrong.
yeah, like those things are cool, but that's not gonna, you know what I mean? That is nostalgic to them too, you know what I mean? And just like Pokemon may not be that nostalgic to like our kids or some shit, you know, but
I don't know, because like my cousin's kids, they're like 4 and 5, and like
yeah, that's cool.
one of them can name all, like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of the not all of the Pokemon,
Yeah,
obviously,
but
but he
good
knew a
chunk.
shit ton and knew like the new stuff. And that's exciting and that's cool.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think there's something about the start of the technology era where it's like, all right, shit is permanent now.
What was
you know?
cool about Pokemon, or has always been kind of cool, is the like, it's like technology meets real world in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because like we had like this video game, but then we also had like the TV show playing out like different plot lines to help the video game seem more realistic, and like you
Yeah.
got the card when you went to the movie.
Talk about marketing.
And like, you know, like there's even like Toys R Us events where like you bring your game to like the
Mhm.
Toys R Us and you get like a digital Pokemon.
Yeah,
like,
and
that was fun.
Yeah, like even thinking about the events, like you know, Mew was like a glitch. You couldn't get Mew without cheating. Mew was an event only Pokemon,
That
and you
they
got
never
to
really did the event for.
they did do them a little bit. I think they did have like a Toys R Us event.
Yeah.
You could get like a certificate, but it was like kind of exclusive. You know, it was only
I think
maybe
they only
certain
ran it
cities.
and they only ran it for certain periods.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
And I think a lot of the events would end up being more like Japan centered.
Yeah, of course. Like that, because they had the Pokemon Center in Japan that they did a lot of like in-person events at, which
Yeah.
is still just one spot in Japan too. Like, it means even being in Japan, you're not guaranteed it, you know. But
Yeah.
then they had a Pokemon Center in New York, I think, and probably
I think they still
LA.
do.
Yeah,
Did you say what the movie of this week was?
yeah. Pokemon, the first movie.
Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yeah, that it kind of confused me how it has like the triple name.
Yeah, I think the original name was Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back, but like since there's so many movies now, they just call it the first movie.
But
Like,
it's like in the graphics, like a
That's
lot of the
true.
graphics it just says Pokemon the first movie.
that's true too.
The Mewtwo Strikes Back thing is like a second graphic that pops up, and it's not even on like
That is confusing. You're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I
Because I knew it as Mewtwo Strikes Back as a
yeah.
kid.
Did you
Like,
give the fake synopsis?
no, I didn't.
Do you care if I do it?
Yeah, go for it.
So you got Ash, Misty, and Brock, the classic trio with Pikachu, and they get an invitation to go challenge this new trainer. But that trainer is Mewtwo, who has become sentient and has broken away from his creators. And so you got all these top-notch Kanto trainers, and they have to go swim and fight him. And then Mewtwo clones all their Pokemon and tries to beat him up. But Mew comes in and says, "Nah."
Mew.
Honestly, rewatching this, the first thing I thought, I was like, wow, this movie's a lot shorter than I like remember it in my brain.
Well, the real reason for that is they didn't put Pikachu's Vacation at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
Pikachu's Vacation.
that's a short. That's a short though.
I
That's
know.
like like Pixar does that.
I know, but Pikachu's Vacation is a little bit longer than a short, I believe.
It's like 15 minutes.
Exactly.
That
And
was
that-
mind blowing when I
That's
saw that in theaters.
crucial to that was the experience we had as kids going into that fucking theater. It was a part of it. I looked everywhere online for the short.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't find it.
Really?
Like
That's
not
kinda
on. I looked everywhere on YouTube and I couldn't find it.
Oh, there you go. No, I remember because like that was the first time they showed the Johto Pokemon, and so you were
I
like,
know.
oh, who's this tiny
And
Pikachu?
that's before Gold and Silver came out. So it's like, it was. They called it Pika Blue.
Yeah.
They called him Pika Blue, Meryl, and then they had like Snubble in there, and it's like, who the fuck is this little pink mean guy? Like,
Yeah, and I think they had Pichu too.
Pichu? Yeah, exactly.
They had a Johto League Pokemon in the movie though too.
Yeah.
Dumfan,
Who?
the guy that's in Scarlet and Violet. Dunfan.
He's not
He's not original 150.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
He just reminds me so much of Rhydon, but you're right, because his baby Pokemon is so weird that I was like, yeah, you're right, 232. He seems like Gen 1.
Yeah, I mean that's what the great thing about Johto is. A lot of them seem like Gen 1.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of, God, I like need Heart Gold or Soul Silver so bad in my life. Like,
I get it,
it's really starting to piss me off that I never have got to play those.
and they're like $80.
Yeah, like I keep thinking about Gold and Silver. Like those are the Pokemon games to me, I think.
Yeah, I mean that they're definitely the ones I have the most nostalgia for. That and 3rd gen. For me at least.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, this movie. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to switch off. But I really wish Pikachu's Vacation would have been on the
Yeah.
rental I had.
there's usually like a good amount of like Pokemon only moments in some of the later movies, which are
Really?
always fun. It's
Yeah.
fun to see the Pokemon interact.
Yeah, this movie really is like very minimal. It doesn't really have a lot. Like, but it is so cool. Like, it is so funny. Like, just the beginning when they're on the island and like.
They're eating and stuff.
Yeah, but Ash is like not moving, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're lazy." They're just calling him lazy and shit, you know. And then like, dude comes up, Ash, catch him. From Pallet Town. I wanna battle you. And he's like, "Okay," and he jumps up, and they're like, "Oh, of course," you know. And I'm like, this is just so funny because Ash was like, he appeared like to be like a teenager, you know what I mean, or like bigger, you know, like he appears to be like older and like. More mature, but then he's like a grown ass little kid too.
Yeah.
You know, like he's so immature. Like if you really think about him, and he's always so angry and like
I'm the best.
yeah, like. But we all looked up to Ash, like
Of course. I love the little Pokemon battles in the movie because it makes Pokemon battles seem so much more exciting.
yeah.
Um,
I like how they like it is interesting, like especially like watching like you know like this is gonna be more about like the history of Pokemon. I feel like than it is about the movie, but like just this pod in general. But
in a lot of ways, the movie itself is like a timestamp for like the
yeah,
Kanto region. Like the movie even works as like backstory for the legendary fight that you have with Mewtwo in the game.
mm-hmm.
Because like there isn't a lot of story, but like if you know like the movie, you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's Mewtwo, and it broke away from
Yeah,
Team Rocket.
yeah. Well, yeah. He breaks away from the lab and he goes to like the cave where you find him or whatever, like Cerulean Cave. There's also some weird shit I saw where like Ditto and Mew are like loosely related.
Those are the only two Pokemon that can do transform.
Yeah, and they're both originate in the same exact location,
Interesting.
like the Cerulean Cave or whatever. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I feel like it's so interesting how they were able to mix everything together. The cards, the game, the movie, and how the movie can push shit from the game. Also, like you were talking about the battling, and it made me think of them just like using moves. Like they had like, oh, we learned like whiplash. So like Ivy sword do whiplash, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, oh,
Razor
whiplash
leaf.
isn't working. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna work on. Like it makes me think like, oh, they have to like, you know, like it makes everything make sense, you know, and like not just like, because as a kid you think like, oh, like if I was actually battling, like my Pokemon would just whoop ass and like that's it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we don't gotta learn like Screech, you know, like
Yeah, they just get all the good moves.
yeah. But then it's like looking back at it, it's like you realize like yeah, there's like probably like in the thought of it, there's like strategy to everything too. You know, there has to be, but
No, definitely. Definitely. And I loved like the little moments where they have to use surf and like things like that.
yeah, yeah. The dude's like, I got water type, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, it's not safe to go to the island. And they're like, well, there are Pokemon trainers. So they're going to push the limits.
I like how serious they were about like not going to the island, and then like after people started going, the one chick was like, well, they're Pokemon trainers and they want to be the best, so they're gonna go.
They're going to go.
Good luck, trainers. Like
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, wait, weren't you just saying like it's like fatal?
Yeah. Um, there was one moment that I just was dying laughing, and I wasn't supposed to, but it was just funny to me, where like all of the clone Pokemons are fighting the like the real versions, and then
Heartless.
that funny song comes, not funny but like
Oh.
cheery song, like we're brothers but we're fighting.
Yeah, it sounds like some fake. What's his name? What's the Tarzan dude name?
Phil
Phil Collins.
Collins.
Sounds like some fake ass
Yeah.
Phil Collins.
I was like, what is happening here?
Dude, the soundtrack that they just put in this movie is great. Like,
Dude, there's a few moments where like the like comes in like it's a fight starting, and I was like,
Yeah.
nice. That was my only little silly thing. You know what this movie has on Rotten Tomatoes?
what, like 60%?
No, like 16.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought I just saw it.
but like you know, like they pull a lot of reviews from like for older movies
Oh,
from like
yeah.
older publications, and a lot of like the main tagline was like, "Adults won't get anything from this movie." And I was like, come on,
yeah.
that's not
I mean,
fair
yeah.
now to say now.
Yeah, this deserves way more than 16%. But to be fair, it's not like a, you know, I would say this is probably like a 60%.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's not
Not to
very
rate it
long.
already, but
I mean, to be honest though, like the other movies are better. Like the next ones are better.
so what is? Yeah, tell me about like the next one. How does that go into Johto?
So 2001, I think is what it's called. Pokemon 2001.
Pokemon 2000.
2000. Yeah, that's right.
Pokemon 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah. It's the birds and Lugia.
Yeah.
And Lugia.
Yeah.
They have to like go to these islands and like put like stones in the island, return these stones. And there's this like collector, and he's trying to collect all the legendary birds.
Okay.
And
And he's like villain.
he's the villain-esque, but like it's a cooler villain. There's more happening like in terms of like the conflict, and it takes
Okay.
more time to resolve.
Yeah.
And like Slowking's in it.
Okay.
So it's like more Johto, and then I think there is a Celebi movie too.
Yeah.
Um,
No, because there's this infamous thing of like, there was a GS ball in the game and in the anime, and it was like supposed to hold Celebi or
Yeah.
Celebi,
yeah,
and then within the anime, they decided they showed it as this mysterious item so much that everyone was like, "What is it? How are we gonna use it?" And then it was in the game, and then they decided they were gonna make a Celebi movie. So they just like literally gave the GS ball to like some random old man in the anime and never talked about it again.
yep,
They just like
yeah,
completely cut off the storyline and then did a Celebi movie later, and like everyone's been pissed about it ever since.
yeah. That was a funny having to rewrite moment.
Yeah.
Celebi was like a really rare event to get at that time too. I think it might have only happened in Japan.
Yeah.
But there's lots of ways you could get Celebi too later.
Yeah,
on.
they I know they fucked up the initial way they were wanting to give that out or whatever, like with that little Pichu house
Yeah.
in Diamond or whatever.
Yeah, I think Diamond and Pearl had the best events, or like they worked the best.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just around to get them,
Yeah.
and they like activated new little tiny stories.
Yeah. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
And then there's an Entei movie too. I think
Yeah.
that's 3 with the
Yeah.
3 dogs.
That's what makes me wonder, because that's got to be like another Johto movie then, more or less, right?
Yeah, so I guess there's 3 Johto movies.
Well, this movie might be like a Kanto movie that just has like one Johto.
They used this movie to like hype up the next game. It
Yeah.
was before Gold and Silver came out.
Yeah. But I guess they don't really even talk about the region there. But I guess if anything, they're probably closer to Kanto.
Yeah, they're in Kanto right then.
Yeah, in the first movie. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So how is there? Oh, Celebi is Johto.
Yeah. And that one has Tyranitar in it too.
Isn't Celebi Sinnoh or
No, that's Johto. Celebi's Johto.
Johto is Gold and Silver?
Uh-huh. Celebi's the Mew of Johto, or of Gold and Silver.
Okay.
And then Jirachi is of Ruby Sapphire.
Okay. Who's it in Diamond and Pearl then?
It's like Manphy,
Oh,
or like Pheno, or whatever it's called.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Those are always what? They're mythical?
Oh, wait, and Shaman.
Shaman.
Yeah, I think Shaman is actually it.
Yeah. Okay.
And Shaman has there's like a few. I definitely know that there's a few Diamond and Pearl movies.
Okay.
Because Diamond and Pearl starts to get like really heady with the legendaries. Because it's like they're the creators of time, space, and all Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, because Diamond and Pearl has Arceus.
Yeah.
Arceus never got put in the game either, too, right? They put that flute in the game
Yeah,
and
they
never...
never gave the flute out. But you could use ways to get the flute
Yeah.
and activate the event. You can do it in Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it now that you've beaten Arceus in it. You can go to like do that event once you've unlocked it all.
Oh, yeah, it is unlocked now.
'Cause
Because
you
when we...
just need the save file.
When I first played Pearl, it wasn't...
Right, but now that you have the save file, and you might have also beaten it, so I think you can do the event now.
Yeah. I think I wonder if I did. I'm gonna put that game in. I'm gonna do one more session on Arceus and then I'll give it back and just make sure I did everything.
Yeah, cool. I ain't too worried.
Yeah.
I did like in this Mewtwo is a really great villain.
Yeah, but it is just weird how he like comes out of like the womb just being like I'm a slave. Like, you know, like how does he
What
know
am I?
everything? Like how do, he has like such a good memory, or like he has such good knowledge already of like everything, and it's like you're like fresh when you like understand the concept of like Pokemon and like slavery and like humans, and it's like wouldn't it take him a little bit longer to realize like how fucked up his situation it was?
Yeah,
Like
probably.
he just very instantly like knew how fucked up everything was and knew exactly why it was fucked up. And I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, I guess that's the psychic in him, but like,
No, I get it. It was like a little bit sudden. A lot of this movie is very rushed, which it didn't feel like as a kid, but now.
yeah, he's just very weird. But yeah, as like a threat, you're like shit. And like, oh my god, there's so many parts in this movie that I'm just like, actually, I mean, it's just two. And it all has to do with Pikachu being like Choo, and like him running up the fucking spiral.
Yeah.
With the Pokeballs chasing it with the Mewtwo balls.
Yeah.
Why didn't they ever put the Mewtwo balls in the game?
I don't know. That would
That would have been fucking cool.
That would have been sick.